So I suppose the next update as I go about sorting out things for tomorrow morning and just general life. Um, so last night I did 5 hours or so, which was going to be my long endurance session based in Zone 2, and I was on Swift. I was doing that one. Felt really good, felt really easy. But the bigger news, which came in as I was riding, which was notified on my phone, was that from London, Edinburgh, London, I've now got my start time, which is going to be for when I'm starting the great big expedition up and down the country in August. Really looking forward to that one. So, what I took, what the options were. There was two options. One option was to be starting from Whittle, I think it is Whitton, which is kind of near. It's in Essex. It's somewhere down in Essex. It's not where it was last time. Previously it had been Loughton the last couple of times, but this time it's going to be somewhere slightly out more towards Chelmsford, I think it is. But that was the second option. So the second option, which they didn't do last time, but they did do the first or the time before, was that you could have actually started at Charterhouse in the centre of London. And then if you were there, you would then set off earlier because you were in the city centre, but you got to actually go from London. So part of my mindset was, well, the early starts, does it go in my favour and all the rest of it? But then I thought, well, to start from the centre of London, that's actually really quite a cool thing to do. So what I'll do is I'm going to put down a start time which is going to be in central London and select that one, not expecting to get it. So last night when I was on my turbo trainer, kind of doing my normal process and working through, and then I got a text message, email saying that congratulations, you have been selected for starting at 5:45 a.m. in central London. So I'm now kind of slightly buzzing with the idea that I'm actually going to be starting in central London instead of out in Essex, which is actually really quite cool because it will actually be London. This time it's just short of Edinburgh, and then back down to the finish point. Last time I did this, 3-4 years ago, we actually went through London. So it went through Edinburgh. We did the cobbles that was up through the Royal Mile. I did it at some awful time late at night when everyone else. Oh, the food smelled really good. That's the bit I remember. Going through the city, and people were having their evening meals going into drinking in the night. And there was the smell of the restaurants as you're riding through, and it just smelled really, really good food. However, this time we're not actually going to go into Edinburgh. We're going short of Edinburgh because of the way the accommodation, the way that you need to have a whole school to actually host checkpoints up in these areas. So we're not actually going to go into Edinburgh, but this time I'm actually going to start in London, which is really, really cool. so I will be doing London near Edinburgh to near London in the grand scheme of things. It's London, Edinburgh, London. It's going to be fantastic fun. It's going to be great. The other thing that kind of then put my mind racing was that when I did this last time, one of the tactics that I took that worked out pretty well. Last time it was a heat wave. It was fucking hot. It was really hot. So one of the processes which I worked through was I had in my mind, I'd planned out roughly what my time in hand was and when my cut-off times were going to be at different points. And I knew that at one point I was going to have to cross the fens. I was going to have to go down that section, which is Louth down through Spalding area, and then ending up, you go through the real heat of the area. It's King's Bishop, whatever it's called. It's near Huntington. That section is extremely exposed, and I thought, oh God, that's going to be really, really, really hot. So what I planned to do was I'd planned to get into that section as early in the day as possible, so that when I was riding through that section, I wouldn't be in heat of the midday. That actually really kicked in like the 1 o'clock time period when I was in Cambridge instead, because if I'd been in the Fens area, there would have been no shade, no shelter, and it would have been really, really painful. But from what Anna says, I started last time at about 9 o'clock in the morning, 9-10 o'clock. So this is going to be 4 hours earlier. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be actually about 10 hours earlier, which would mean that my finish time would be 10 hours earlier. And the risk of me being in those hot environments, if it is a heat wave again this year, how I managed to manage my checkpoints and where I sleep to make sure I don't end up in that situation. That's the bit that I think is the bits on the mind. The rest of it, I think I'm actually quite confident and quite happy about. The setting off early hours on the Sunday morning from central London, where I sleep the first night is the bit that I'm not quite sure on. It does actually make the day a lot longer, so it makes it an additional 4 hours or so of riding to get to the same sleep point that I did last time. So I'll be 4 hours further up the country than when I did it last time. I'm going to have to try and remember where I slept. I remember sleeping underneath the table. I remember putting the buff over my eyes because all the beds were filled by that time of night when I got there. But this time I'm going to be in one of the earliest waves. So I'm going to be further up before the rest of the horde chase me up. So I've got more chance of getting to bed, which is going to be fantastic. It's going to be the benefits. But it also means that I could be 4 hours further up. I think first year, 2017, I got as far as Moffat. But did I sleep? I think I might have gone through the night the first night. Yeah, because I cycled through. I got to Loughton in the dark, and then I cycled through the night, I think it was. Then it was the second night at Moffat was where my first sleep was, I think. So this time, depending on where I will certainly be north of Louth. Whether I'm across the Humber, I'm not sure. And whether I just do a time cut, and I'll try and do along the lines of ride from 5 a.m. or 5:45 a.m. until 11:30 at night, or get to the 10:30 time period and work out where the next checkpoint is and how many hours to the next checkpoint. Do I stop at 10:30 because the next checkpoint will actually be at 1 a.m. or do I keep going because I know that the next checkpoint will be, or the next place I'll be at will be 11:30, and then sleep then. And also kind of like how many hours of sleep do you take? Do you take the whole night, or do you do snapshot sleeps? So I'm thinking that probably I'm going to go slightly longer on the sleeps, but try and take advantage of when the cold period is and if it's a still night and all the rest of it. So there's so many variables that kind of sit in this. But it's fantastic that I've actually got the number of what time I'm going to be starting. There's going to be some logistics to try and get this through. I don't really want Anna to take me into central London at that time in the morning. I know that she wants to. I know that there's going to be a family party the night before. I would like her to be able to relax and have fun, rather than having me as the burden. That I might be able to get a tube in at that time in the morning because I'll be coming from East London rather than I'm coming further afield. So if everything's right, I should be able to get a tube in, jump off the tube, 20 minutes, 40 minutes or so at the start point, just to shake down and say hello and all the rest of it, but then get riding. That's what the intention would be. Whether that's possible, I'll see. I know that Anna will want to veto that, but we'll see. That's the exciting bit. So now it's going to be trying to do the mind games of calculations of times, periods, spaces between checkpoints and where to sleep and all the rest of it. Also, Anna's going to be volunteering with the kids. So they're going to be at the penultimate checkpoints that was Great Eastern last time. This time it's a different one. And I forgot what it's called. It'll come to me at some point. And then she'll also go to the end point at the end. Now, optimistic me, and I know that Anna will laugh at this because whenever it goes to Alex times, always add on several hours. so ideally, I've got until I think 1 p.m. on the Friday to complete. But I'd love to be able to do it a lot faster and kind of like either late Thursday night, early Friday morning kind of thing, and breakfast time kind of thing. No idea whether that's achievable. No idea at all. Every time I do this, things go differently. It destroys plans. You're talking about, 120 something hours on the bike. So the window of opportunity for different things to occur. First year I coughed up blood. I didn't expect that in a storm near Moffat. I didn't expect that one. going great guns all the way up, and then on the way back just absolutely destroyed myself. So this time, the last time I did it, there was the heat, but I actually planned it really well, and I had the experience of the first time, so I knew what to do. This time, because it's going to be the third time, I've got the experience, I've got the rest of it, but it has given me more impetus in terms of the training, in terms of I think that now I've done a certain amount, which has been the base training of the past how many weeks, and now I can actually start to have more fun. I can build in some more of the intensity to it. So there's going to be less of this bike in the shed, more of the fun stuff on the road, a bit more of the exploring, a bit more of the shakedown of equipment, all the rest of it. But I think looking at some of the intervals.icu data, heart rate versus power is very healthy at the moment. My FTP, whatever it is, but things like also the bikes that I've got hung up behind me here, I've got my old Concorde, it's got a power tap hub, so that's helping with in terms of looking at what the power output is if I'm using that bike. The Enigma has now got Favero power pedals, which is also helping out with in terms of the accuracy from like the smoothness of my riding as well. As soon as I start to actually think about the smoothness and get it right, the technique then increases the efficiency, which increases my power output and sustainability of below lactate thresholds, etc., which is really helping. So that I can now hopefully translate what I've learned in here and all the rest of it onto the road. Got the tools to do it. Even the work bike here has got a power meter on the crank, so when I'm doing commutes I can also actually benefit that way as well. So things I think are moving in the right direction, should be positive. Nice bit of motivation, and also the weather's starting to come out a bit nicer as well, which is always favourable. Still very cold in the mornings. One of the reasons why I was on Zwift last night rather than being on the road, and I was tempted to go on the road, and I needed a bit of support around the house, and also chill blains. I'm struggling with temperature differences. I'm struggling with Raynaud's, which means that my fingers and my extremities go very, very, very cold, which is causing chill blains. So there wasn't. They'll take a couple of weeks to actually start repairing again. Weather will go better, but I know it sets it back again, which is not what I want it to do. Yes, it was wiser, even though it was nice at 5:30. It would have been lovely to be out on the road, but I know that when I got back, which would have been close to 11 o'clock at night, it would have been about 2 degrees. so it would have been very different, and it would have taken a lot of pain on the extremities. So that's what I've got so far. That's what I'll put as an update onto YouTube, just as a reference as to the excitement of, yes, I've got a start time for LEL. Also done the administrative bit, which was bag drops, which is pretty much here nor there. I think I've gone for a decent bag drop. It's not optimal, but it'll do. But this time I think there's less requirement for a safety net. I'll put the stuff there because it's nice to have it. But however, I think there's other bits that I've done and the experience that I gained that I'm not sure whether I require it. I think the rest of the country might require me to have it, because I think by certain points my kit will smell so bad people will be willing me to change my kit. But there you go. Okay, so that's my update. I'll YouTube it, my very basic editing, and put it on my blog. There you go.